One host works out at the gym. The other gets the meat sweats. Ford of Tuscola presents the Behind the Mic Show with your hosts, Sam Irwin and Keith Gibson.
Welcome, everybody, to the Behind the Mic Show. We are a week away from Christmas. Sam Irwin, less than a week away, and you and I are bringing the Behind the Mic Show episode 32.
Oh, Marcus Allen. Nice.
Oh, who was left off the running back 100 list?
Yeah, exactly. Marcus Allen. That's right. Magic Johnson, 32. So, yeah.
A lot of good numbers at 32. How was your weekend? Are you ready for Christmas, sir?
Oh, ready for it to be over. Yeah. No, it was good. It was good. Went and watched Jumanji 2. I highly recommend that. It was a lot of fun. Good family movie. Of course, there's some language in it I was kind of surprised with.
Well, you have The Rock and Kevin Hart in that one, right?
Yeah, but I don't remember that in the first one with the language. So they kind of expand a little bit on it. And there's definitely a surprise at the end. So you need to stick around after the credits.
I like Jumanji. I like that.
Yeah.
First look was really good.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it like 9 parts, Sam. I had to watch the first one like 9 parts. Couldn't stay awake.
What a surprise. You really need to stay on that easy chair. You really do. How was your weekend?
Busy as normal. Kendall had her Christmas party Friday night and did a great job, sang and did the hand movements and danced. She did great. And then we had Friendsmas the weekend. So, it was busy, but as this time of year, as you and I know, it's that way. So,
right.
But it was good, and this week's been good so far. A little snow Sunday, though.
Oh, that trip back was not pleasant. Not pleasant. Driving through whiteouts is never a good time.
No, it's not. So, it's not. You know what? But we can't afford to do anything in Central Illinois because of that. I mean, you just do it.
That's right.
You watch people actually who don't know how to drive drive in the stuff.
Idiots is what they are.
84% of the student body at the University of Illinois. I'm not going to say what they are, but it's 84% of the student body at the University of Illinois.
Not so great at the driving.
No. Hey, lots to talk about today. We're gonna get into it here after we take a quick break from our presenting sponsor, Ford of Tuscola. Bob, Doug, Barnesy, Nick, all those guys down there do a great job. Huge sale going on right now. If you're looking for a Christmas present, you might want to visit Ford of Tuscola for a vehicle.
Huge deals. Greatest deals ever.
Yeah. But they're great finance as well. And so if you're looking for that, make sure you visit them. We'll hear from them, come back, and we're going to go dive right into it, Sam. We're going to talk high school football. I know a lot of people like to talk about that because the IHSA has reversed their decision on districts. So we'll get right into that after we take a quick break and listen to our sponsor, Ford of Tuscola. This is the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
Check out the all-new Ford of Tuscola. It's a small-town feel with great big deals. Pre-owned vehicles starting at $24.95. Online at fordoftuscola.com or call 217-253-3353.
Back here on the Behind the Mic Show, Keith Gibson, Sam Ernst. We bring you another episode here weekly. But, Sammy, big news on Tuesday. The IHSA had their annual meeting and voted to reverse their ruling from last year on changing high school football from conferences and the way the playoffs are done as of now to districts, which is what they voted in last year. This year, reversed that on a big landslide and said, nope, don't want to do that so quick, so fast.
Wow.
Coach Andy Romine, who's from Tuscola, he was on WCIA News here in Champaign, and he said there was just too many unknowns. IHSA put out a mock district back in May, and I think it scared a lot of coaches.
Right.
And what's your thoughts on going from conferences to a district which is based on your enrollment and teams comparable?
Well, and I guess it's I don't know. I get where a lot of people are freaked out about it. Like, for instance, Coach Martin, let's say at Marion, if he gets put in a district, he's going to have to drive. They're going to have to drive like 4 or 5 hours to get to comparable size.
Right.
So that hurts. I think it would have helped when it comes to playoff time because you're actually playing schools that are similar in size and talent. Like, for instance, what Benton ran into at Effingham. Good Lord, they were not ready for such a thing because they don't play teams like that all year, right? So I think there's some good to it, but at the same time, Illinois is so spread out and, such a big state and a lot of area to cover from north to south that it just be too expensive for schools. And and plus have a kid on a bus for 10 hours round trip. I mean, come on, you'd have to, you'd have to take off Friday from school and it'd just be, I think it's just too much, so I think there was some validity to it. And maybe, come playoff time, maybe they could, it makes you wonder if they couldn't do don't do the districts during the regular season, but just districts in playoffs.
Well, I think that's a great idea. Why couldn't you do that? Because the classes aren't working in playoffs. Benton was a great example of that this year, getting bumped up for a 5-4 team. Now, explain to me, Sam, why if you're the IHSA, that an 8-1 team
gets punished
bumped for a 5-4 team.
Right. So Benton obviously was, I assume why they did it is they were pretty close to the enrollment to be bumped up to a class, I guess. But at the same time, they're still in that class.
Right.
They're still there. So I think we said, during that broadcast was they should have just bumped up the 5-4 team. You barely made it in. So here, go play Effingham. Enjoy, or Salem or whatever the case was. Now Benton obviously did a great job, beat Salem, and then went and, ran into a buzzsaw that was Effingham. Didn't Effingham end up going to the Final Four or something like that?
Right.
Yeah. But no, I could see the value of those districts because, when you get into but I guess that isn't it kind of way it is in playoffs because you are like Marion, for instance, they're 4 or 5A or something like that.
Correct.
So
they're
even though
5A.
so they're going to be playing in the the bigger teams anyway, obviously when it gets to that point. So I guess it really wouldn't matter to keep around, the
well, let's talk about a school like Flora.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, enrollment is where it's at. You're going to end up being in a district with schools more like Fairfield. It's going to look more like maybe the old NEC, Sam.
Right.
Maybe we a couple in and out here or there or whatever, but I'm not against the districts.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the IHSA needs to, if you're going to have coaches, and it goes on its member schools is who votes on it.
Right.
You've got to have a set. All right, here's what the districts are going to be.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And here's how it's going to work. And I think that's a lot of the coaches' issues is there's too many unknowns. It was just a mock. So there was no final ruling on this is how the districts will be lined up. And I think if that comes in, you may see this move forward in the next couple of years. But right now, I think it's smart to stay with conferences. I like conferences. I really do. I
do too. Yeah.
You can play the same teams every year. You build those rivalries. You know, there's a lot of conferences have moved around the last few years.
Yeah.
A lot of conferences have disbanded and because of travel and cost. But I like having conferences. I think it's good to know where you're playing and who you're playing into each year. And then your open games, that's when you have the choice to find somebody to play.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Don't play some podunk. See if you can go play somebody bigger, better. Kind of like what Zink did, for Louisville to start their season out. He knew they were going to take it on the chin, but they're going to be better for it down the road. So and that's exactly what's happened. They got beat up in those first few games. They played hard, but and look at them now. They're winning every game now. So it kind of prepares them for the season. So I think that was a smart move. So if I'm a football team and wanting to kind of prepare my kids for the playoffs, you really got to step up your out of conference schedule if you can. It's easier said than done. But I don't blame coaches for wanting to keep the conference around because once again, too many unknowns. You can't vote for that. When you don't know what's going on, you got kids involved. You can't do that.
Well, there's just so many, as you said, spread out north and south. It's a lot different in Chicago than it is in Southern Illinois, too.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot more density of schools in the northern region than there is, and they don't have to travel as far as there is in Southern Illinois.
Correct. Here's one thing they could do is if they want to get all fancy and do this stuff. Okay, come playoff time, Catholic schools, you have your own deal. You don't get in the playoffs with everybody else because you get to recruit. Even though their enrollment, that doesn't matter when it comes to their enrollment because that does hurt some teams. As you may be a 3A school or something like that, but you're going up to play some Catholic school that gets to recruit and has D1 athletes just because their enrollment says they're 3A. I think Catholic schools or just religious schools, whatever, should have their own conference or whatever when it comes to playoffs.
Well, Sam, they already do a northern. When they see the playoffs, there's 32 teams in each class. So you have a northern and you have a southern. Why can't we just keep the northern and the southern and then less travel for everyone.
I would think that would make more sense. Yeah, I don't.
And quit traveling to the Cal for the state tournament, for the state championship games.
Duh, dumb. Yes.
Yeah, because attendance was awful this year.
Imagine that. That.
Yeah,
Maybe they ought to bring that back to Champaign too.
Yeah, it all should be in Champaign. Let's be honest. That way I can go.
Right.
But hey, well, it'll be interesting to see moving forward how they do that. But for now, all is well in high school football as it's still conferences and regular playoff games. So take a quick break. We'll come back, and we're going to try it one more time, Sammy. We're going to try trivia when we come back.
Maybe we get somebody to actually answer it without sharing it on Facebook.
Nothing last week, so let's see. We'll do it one more time, see what we can get. Maybe we'll try some other giveaway. We're just trying to give away swag.
It's Behind the Mic Show Trivia Time, presented by Beez Trees.
Sam Irwin, that sound means only one thing. It is Beez
Trivia time, baby. Yeah.
And we had a whopping 0 answer our trivia question last week.
That's pretty pitiful.
People, I'm going to get serious for a second. I'm trying to give away things here. I am trying to give away hats, T-shirts, cups, and maybe other things. You never know. All you have to do is answer a question. It's not that hard. We're trying to make it easy on you.
That's what she said.
That's a lot.
Right.
All right. So last week you asked the question. Who was named Executive of the Year?
Yeah.
Who was named? What were the 3 again? Do you remember?
I think it was Executive of the Year, MVP, and Coach of the Year.
Coach, that's right. And the answer was
Bill Russell.
Right. You could have looked that up on Google, people, and answered.
Very simply, yes, and could have got you a free hat, shirt, cup, whatever.
And soon we're gonna have hats in available colors: black,
that's right,
orange, blue, and cardinal red.
Boy,
as much as it hurt me to order those, cardinal red. Hey, you got a chance to win. You get your pick of hat color when you win.
Right.
All you have to do is play.
Yeah.
The 0 that played last week, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks so much for participating.
But hey, we got a new trivia question this week thanks to our sponsor, Beez Trees. Of course, Sammy, why should everybody give Greg Miller at Beez Trees a call?
Well, I've always been a big fan of just keeping your bushes trimmed. Helps make your deck look bigger. Maybe your deck isn't as big as what you thought, compared to other decks. But if you trim up, it does help it look bigger,
Right.
So that's about all you can do.
It increases your size.
It really does. So you may not be able to necessarily increase your size, but you can increase the look of the size of your deck by keeping your hedges trimmed, your bushes trimmed. Yeah,
that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's right.
And he does great cleanup work too. So if you need to clean that up, make everything look bigger.
Exactly. Win-win.
All right, so this week's trivia question, Sam Irwin. Which NFL quarterback was drafted in the 30th round of the 2000 MLB draft by the Colorado Rockies? I'll read it one more time.
Ooh.
Which NFL quarterback was drafted in the 30th round of the 2000 MLB draft by the Colorado Rockies?
Interesting.
Very interesting and very tough because I didn't even know it until I looked it up.
Unreal. Yeah, I can't think of who that'd be. Yeah, not sure.
So we'll take answers any way you want to give them to us. Just answer.
Jeez. We're trying to make it interactive with people.
Right. We're trying.
And reward them for listening. Thank them.
You know what we'll do this week, Sam? I think this is what we'll do. Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning, I'll just put the question up. I'll put it up with the show.
Right.
Surely someone will answer. Maybe
so. Jeez. Like we're asking them to do friggin' push-ups or something. I mean, come on.
We don't do push-ups around here. You know better than that.
Well, we do.
You do.
Yeah.
There's no we in push-ups. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, come back, talk Heisman, college football, and what to expect coming up here soon in college football. We're listening to Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill.
Beez Trees, your local IHSA certified arborist with over 10 years experience, specializing in tree removal, tree trimming, and with free estimates. Call Greg Miller of Beez Trees today at 217-260-4551.
Back here in the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill, it's the great one, Sam Irwin, the 15th World Heavyweight Champion, and Mo Money Keith Gibson, maybe the greatest tag team ever in the history of professional wrestling. We are currently undefeated.
Yes, we are. That's right. Not many can say that.
That's right. Back here on the Behind the Mic Show, we'll talk NCAA football now, Sam, and we were both correct last week when we named our Heisman winner in Joe Burrow, who won in a landslide, sir.
Wow.
841 first place votes.
And the person in second place got how many first
That was
place votes?
Chase Young out of Ohio State, the defensive end. 20.
20. So 847 to 20. So wasn't his first place vote percentage like 91.7% or something I read?
Did Linda get you those stats?
Well, Linda got me some stats, but that one I saw on my own. Linda's doing so great, though. So great. I got to get her a Christmas bonus this year. Maybe a nice.
We can't afford a bonus. We don't have people
maybe
trivia.
Maybe a nice Christmas goose.
Oh,
like, yeah.
I got some out the.
Got him hanging out the shed. Free. So yeah, but yeah, good for him and a great speech. He gave a very emotional speech. Good for him. He is obviously going to be the first pick in the draft. I mean, that's just a no-doubter now. And, lucky, good for him. He gets to go to Cincinnati or something like that.
You know what I like about his speech? He thanked his offensive lineman.
Brilliant. Yes. Yep, that's right. Wouldn't be anywhere without him. So,
right.
Yeah. Yep.
I loved his speech. I thought it was very emotional. In fact, his speech also helped raise a ton of money. People donated to a foundation there in Ohio, like $240,000.
Right.
So I mean, he's doing good things that way too. Thank Coach O.
And that's where he's from is Ohio. So if he can end back in Cincinnati, he'd be thrilled with that. I mean, if they can build a team around him, I guess. But oh boy,
there's a lot of work to do in but his coach, Coach Ogeron,
said, and I quote, they interviewed him. He said, LSU, go Tiger. That's what he said. So that was awesome to get from Coach O. He's always a great soundbite. So is that what you got out of it?
That was a pretty good impression right there. I got Tigers and LSU out of that. That's about right.
Yep, that's about it. That's all you ever need. Yep.
But he was named Coach of the Year. Are you okay with that?
Hey, you know what? Whenever you go undefeated in SEC play, it's not hard to have an issue with that. I would, maybe the Ohio State coach as well could have got that. But yeah, I mean, good Lord. I don't know. I've read some things about Coach O. He's smart enough that he may not be the greatest of coaches and all that, but he's a great manager. He delegates and you do this, you do that, and he just kind of manages. And obviously it's working. So good for him, and we'll see if that continues. They can get him a title here coming up before too long. And but yeah, Coach of the Year, you go undefeated in the SEC. That doesn't happen too often. So no,
it does not. Chase Young, defenseman at Ohio State, we just mentioned a few minutes ago, who ended up with 21st place votes, says he's going to come back to Ohio State. Are you surprised by that?
I'm very surprised. Yeah, very surprised because he's a top 5 pick, easy. He might be number 2 right behind Joe Burrow. So number two. But just to turn down that kind of money, I mean, good for him. But God, you see it so many times. It's like, man, what if he gets hurt next year, blows out a knee, something like that, and there goes all that money. So I'm always a fan of, if you know what you want to go pro, get your money. Just be smart with it, and you could always go back and finish your degree. That's no issue. But hey, it's his call. He does what he wants. If he loves the college environment, loves his teammates, wants to stick around, more power to him.
In the voting, Sam, I'm looking at this now and bringing this up. Yep. Speaking of Ohio State, Justin Fields, their quarterback, ended up 3rd in the Heisman race. Young ended 4th. And J.K. Dobbins ended 6th, ahead of Trevor Lawrence and Chuba Hubbard.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I thought that was very interesting. 3 Ohio State guys in the top 10 in the Heisman race.
Man, and it kind of makes you wonder how, Ohio State's
one from LSU, and that was Burrow.
Yeah, and he had a lot of talent around him, too. If you watch those award shows, I think his wide receiver got wide receiver of the year. He had a safety on the defensive side that got the Jim Thorpe Award. I mean, they're loaded. So, but yeah, you mentioned 3 Ohio State players in the top 10 like that in the Heisman. Maybe Ryan Day should have got some more votes for Coach of the Year. I mean, that's a loaded team, so yeah, I don't know. I guess we're going to find out here for too long with the college football.
We are. It'll be fun. I don't know what your plans are for that day, but imagine the bar will be open. Just saying.
Well, of course, the championship game is always on a Monday night, right?
Right, but the
Yeah.
semifinals are on a Saturday, the 28th.
Interesting. Well, might have to stop by. We'll see. Yeah.
TV's, a bar, diner.
Right.
Also, NCAA President Dr. Mark Emmert.
Mhm.
There's a bill going through on Capitol Hill right now, which we don't talk a lot of politics, so don't worry, this isn't political. But there's a bill on Capitol Hill right now about the pay to play, trying to make it a federal law. He did say today that states who pass this pay to play law are hurting the federal law because the federal law will oversee the state law.
Right.
And that's what they're trying to do, is make it equal across the board, because a state like California who passed it, which it doesn't go into effect until 2023 in California.
Oh, okay.
But if it goes into effect and they have it, and then kids play in another state, how do you say it's fair? The other question that's been asked on Capitol Hill is, if you're a left tackle of a Division I school, maybe not one of the most prominent schools in the country, how is it fair what you get paid compared to what others get paid? So I think they're trying to work on that to make it how it's level across the board. I don't know if you're going to be able to.
Well, here's my question on that is, okay, I understand make it level. That's great. I mean, I totally understand that. There's no way some of these schools can pay these kids, though. They're not making any money. A lot of them, they'll cite now, a lot of them, how they pay their whole budget is, if you're a D3 or D2 school, you'll go to let's say, University of Florida and play them, and Florida will pay you $1 million to come play, right? And that funds their whole program. Well, now you got to turn around and try to pay all your athletes too. You're not getting the fans in the stands. You're not getting. So it's like, how are they going to do that? That's going to be interesting.
That's one of the unknowns right now.
There's no way they can. They don't have the money. Now, your big school programs, of course, your Big Tens and they got the TV money. They got all. And so here's what's going to happen is any chance it's good. Yeah, exactly. And any chance those lower tier schools, even if they are D1, they have no chance when it comes to getting kids. Not that they ever did, but you're not going to get a lot of kids at all, because why would I come here because you can't pay me this? I mean, I know they're trying to say level, but there's no way. There's no way that they can do that. You tell me in Appalachian State, even though they've always got decent football, they're going to be able to pay their players the same the University of Florida does? No.
That's why I'm trying to figure out how you're going to do that, unless you take money from the big schools.
Yeah, and divvy it out. Right. Well, because you got to think the NCAA, how much money do they make a year? Didn't they just come out and say last year they made how many billion of dollars? Well, you go ahead and do the math on that and let the NCAA divvy it out then, if that's the way it's going to. Don't put it on the school. Schools are making you the money. So NCAA, anyway, do something for the kids for once and take that profit and do something with it. So,
but Dr. Emmert did say one magical thing today, Sammy.
Oh, tell me it's about the game.
It is. It's in favor of a video game coming back on 3 conditions. And I like these 3.
Okay.
That he can be guaranteed there are no more lawsuits filed.
Okay.
I have no issue with that.
No issue, right.
That there can be a group license to give students a voice.
Okay.
A marketing license,
Right, yeah.
And without giving the student athletes a union, they are treated like employees.
I
have no issue with all 3 of them.
No issue. Yeah.
Because if you are making money, you are an employee. That takes almost away from a student athlete. So here's my question to you. So this got me thinking today when I saw this. If you want them treated like employees, where does the scholarships go? When do they lose their student athlete and become just employees?
Oh, that's that's a good point too, because now granted, wow. See, now
I gave some deep thought here.
Yeah, that's right. Now they'll still give scholarships. I mean, because schools have to. They'll still have to do that, and these kids will be making a little. It isn't like they're going to get rich off this stuff anyway, but it's a little something for the effort. Granted, they're going to have taxes taken out. You can't just give them free. I mean, so there's going to be an employee, then this is what you get. So basically, and here's the thing too. Well, it just depends. Once again, it's just so many things they could do. Is like, these players that can get paid for their likeness, paid for that. That's only a couple players per team. The whole damn team's not getting this. It's going to be your quarterback, your big-time linebacker, something like that, people that really stand out on the team.
And I think that's where the issue is. Do you just pay everybody flat?
Right.
Here's the money we have.
Yeah.
If you play college sports or any, and it's going to be men, women, everything. We're not just talking about football, we're talking basketball, everything.
Right.
Here's your flat pay.
Yeah.
Here's what we made. Here's your flat pay.
Right.
Here's your stipend.
Yeah. You know what? Here's maybe how they do it is, even though it may not be fair, if the NCAA can divvy out the money, whatever, but if it's based on money brought in, like you're saying, like for instance, University of Florida is getting ready to play in a New Year's Eve Six Bowl or New Year's Six Bowl. So they're going to be getting like $20-some million for that. So these big schools will be able to divvy out that money much easier than an Appalachian State, let's say. But once again, those players are going to be getting paid more than the other schools. There's no way you can pay it as much. It just doesn't work that way. So I'll be interested to see. Yeah, I don't know.
It will be interesting. I'll be interested right there with you to kind of see how they end up divvying everything up. So it'll be something to watch for. But the good news is, Sam Irwin, we're soon going to have college football.
Yes, we are.
College basketball. There hasn't been a college basketball game since 2010.
Thanks, Ed O'Bannon. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I own and I still play on PS3.
Do you really?
Yeah. There's nothing better than college sports. You and I have played a lot of them.
Yep. That's right.
I will play a college football or college basketball game over an NFL game, and now I won't play a college baseball game. I have to have the show.
Well, yeah, that's right.
College football, we spent many of hours on.
Well, and let's think about this too then, is if they put out these games, the amount of revenue that's going to be generated from that once again, the NCAA gets, okay, and then the universities get, you take that money, and then that's much easier to divvy out as well. Because every frigging school is going to be on that game. Appalachian State, all these smaller, they're going to be on the game too. So where's my cut?
Well, that's my thing. That's why I said you take the whole revenue as one big piece.
Right.
How many student athletes do we have for football? Divide it. Here's your cut.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. That's what they're going to have to do. So yeah, because they're going to make
each player might get like $4. Let's be honest.
Oh, it'll be more than that, I'm sure. But none
of my 2 McDoubles and a fry.
Yeah. Enjoy your lunch. Yeah.
But they get that almost every week. Think about that.
Right.
There's a lot to think about, but
yeah,
I'm excited for that. So we're going to take a break here from our good friend, Dr. Katie Burmeister from Back to Action Chiropractic, both Florida and Salem, who's nice enough to sponsor this show. We're going to hear from her, come back, and we're going to talk Major League Baseball free agent signing, Sammy, and the plethora of money being distributed.
Ooh, lots of stupid money flying around, yes.
A lot of it. I'm a baseball fan, and we're going to get into that. So you're listening to Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
This is Dr. Katie Burmeister with Back to Action Chiropractic in Flora and Salem. I have 20 years experience treating everything from injuries and accidents to pregnancy and pediatrics. We give you the care you need without inflating your bill with unnecessary therapies. We accept most insurances, so give us a call at 618-662-4828. Back to Action Chiropractic. No gimmicks, just good chiropractic. This is Dr. Kate Burmeister from Back to Action Chiropractic. Welcome back to the Behind the Mic Show at cheapseatsbar.com.
Thanks to Dr. Katie Burmeister for welcoming us back to the Behind the Mic Show here at cheapseatsbar.com and the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill. Sammy, we talked before the break, a lot of money being thrown around in Major League Baseball. Steven Strasburg signing for $245 million. Garrett Cole tops him at over $300 million. Sammy, these guys are making over $1 million a start, whether they win or not.
Yeah, $35 million a year, wasn't it, for Garrett Cole? Yeah. Wow.
Sammy, it's got to stop eventually. You talk about then Anthony Rendon signs with the Angels. Now I know you're big on the Angels, but so he signed for $245 million over 7 years, Sam.
Good God!
You've now got Rendon, Trout, and Pujols on that payroll. Tell me how the hell you're going to win when you have that much money on your payroll.
It's apparently just not a concern. I guess they get enough people in the stands to watch Trout play that whatever, but why bring in that guy? I mean, like you said, it's like, and just like we talk about the Yankees, we've talked about this before. You spend over $300 million for a pitcher, and the Yankees have never won when they do all this big splashes for A-Rod, you name it. They spend all this money. When they won, they actually developed their minor league and brought it from, grassroots, brought it up. Derek Jeter,
Posada,
yeah. I mean, the names
Rivera,
go on. Rivera. Yes, they're
all
all
those guys
built from the ground.
were
Yep,
farm bred.
exactly.
I don't think farm bred's the word I was looking for there, but that's how it came out.
Maybe they were, but anyway, it turned out much better for them then, and it was much cheaper. I would think, but I just don't understand it. And now I'm seeing where Major League Baseball, the guy running the whole show is he threatening to get rid of minor league baseball?
Yeah.
What kind of sense does that make?
It doesn't.
How would that help any MLB team to get rid of their? I don't get what's his point. What is he trying to say with that?
I'm not sure. I'm really haven't looked into it too much because it just irritates me every time I read it.
Right.
I love minor league baseball. It's one of the most purest forms. Guys are playing so hard in minor league baseball. And I'm not sure why it's happening like that. And whether
I don't know.
But
are they just want to take kids straight out of college, kind of like the NFL and NBA does?
I guess, but it doesn't work that way in baseball.
Right. Interesting.
So, but some other signings in Major League Baseball. The Cardinals did make a sign. They signed Kwang Hun Kim, a lefty out of Korea, who played with one of our guests of our first show, Spencer Patton, who played with him for the Bay Stars last year. So the Cardinals pick up a lefty pitcher out of Korea. Which I think that'll be a good pickup for them. I really do think so.
Right. You can never have too much left-handed pitching, right?
Right. Speaking of left-handed pitching, Madison Bumgarner, big-time Giant, free agent, first time in his career, signs with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, this contract's interesting, Sammy, as he's playing for $6 million next year.
Oh, I take it it's backloaded.
Not necessarily.
Oh.
$13 million the next year, $14 million the next year. He's got, ready for this? $15 million paying him after his contract ends.
After it ends. Interesting.
Sort of Bobby Bonilla-ish.
I was going to say, it reminds me of Bobby Bonilla a little bit. Yeah.
But by the time this contract's done, he will be 35, and he says he wants security for the rest of his life.
I think that's smart.
So he took less years and money deferred till after the contract's done. I think it's genius.
I think that's smart. He knows his time's limited. I mean, he's pitched a long time, and to have that, like you said, to have that security even after you're done, I think pretty smart. Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. A lot of names being thrown around in trades. The Red Sox Mookie Betts has been.
I heard that the Cardinals were maybe involved in that a little bit. I was like, ooh, that would be interesting because he's a heck of a player. So
I'd like to see what the Cardinals would have to give up. There's reports out that the Yankees have talked to the Cubs about Kyle Schwarber.
Ooh,
God, I hope
the next Babe Ruth. How about it? Get even that short porch right. I know you would vomit everywhere if that goes through. Oh, Schwarbs.
I won't put a Yankee hat on. I can't do it.
I no. And you know what? If you did, I'd slap it off your head every time I saw it, and then I'd slap you just for a bonus.
You'll do that anyway.
That's true.
Corey Kluber, big Indians starter, traded to the Rangers. So there's a lot of moving pieces.
Oh yeah,
that are either on the move or getting moved, or the money's out there. I just don't get it, Sam. I mean, it's like teams aren't trying to win.
No.
And I just don't understand it.
They got the TV money now. And it's all about just making splashes, getting some stars in there. It doesn't matter anymore if you win or lose. It's just about getting views. That's where the money's at, I guess. Titles just like, whatever. Because people are coming anyway. I mean, if you look at, Chicago, St. Louis, there's people are still sitting in those stands, even though it's high priced. So until they start to.
Here's my question for you. And this is not because I'm a Cub fan. It's because I'm a baseball fan. But this is something I've been thinking about lately. The Cubs before 2016, it was that team that hasn't won in 108 years. That thing was there. They won.
Right.
What do people have now?
Now what? Right.
The Indians have never won. I mean, they got here 48 years, but they're in Cleveland, so it's not going to happen. I mean, watch Major League. But
right.
No, it's just, I don't know. It just seems different. To me, even as a Cub fan, it's different. We've won. Now what?
Right.
I got to see one in my lifetime. Let's play good baseball. I want to be competitive, and we have been. But Theo is, there's been rumors of Chris Bryant being traded. Anthony Rizzo not wanting to sign him to an extension. Now Schwarber wanting to be traded. What are you doing, Theo?
Right.
You've got all this young talent that you built and came into.
Right.
You're going to have to pay the piper soon.
Yeah, it's the thing.
And maybe that's the reason.
Yep, there's only so much money. And you know what I think would help with baseball is, I think we talked about this over a podcast or two not too long ago, is let's get a salary cap in there, level the playing fields, and see what happens then, instead of, we're all going to New York, or, even though New York never wins, it doesn't seem like with all this big spending. But I would like to see it kind of level the playing field, and maybe that would make it a little more interesting,
I would like to see the salary cap, not for that reason, that you're playing a game of baseball that you grew up loving. It's become – it's almost to the point now where I see these $300 million contracts, and it makes me disgusted. It makes me not want to watch baseball.
Right.
Show me a guy who's going to go out there and give us all 110%, and I will watch. Garrett Cole, whatever.
Right. Especially if you're only
I respect Strasburg for going back to Washington. He may have got big money, but he went back to Washington, and he said he wants to stay with Washington throughout his career. You don't see that. Yes, he got paid, but the owners, anybody who tells me the owners of Major League Baseball aren't making money.
Oh, well, yeah, they wouldn't be giving them this kind of cash if they weren't.
Right.
You know how that goes. We all have a job, so we know that our owners are making far more money than we are.
Yeah.
So, they're putting it out. And once again, if you're a player, like we talked with Mike Trout,
take it. They're going to offer
the money.
You and I both would.
In a heartbeat.
You tell me if somebody didn't offer you even $1,000 to do the show a week, you wouldn't do it?
Oh, good God. Wouldn't that be great? Could you imagine? Oh, man, wouldn't that be great?
If someone offers $100 a week to do this show, we'd probably jump on that too.
You mean that's better than our usual $0?
Right. We can pay the same amount of people that answer a trivia question.
That's right. So true.
No, kidding.
But it's getting out of control. And as you know, going to a ball game anymore is just insanely expensive. So where does it end? Eventually it's going to end, like you said, because it's going to get to a point where people can't go to games.
There's
going to be nobody in the stands.
Strike.
In a strike. Could be that too, right? Yep. So we'll see.
We always talk about everything goes in a vicious circle, Sam Irwin.
And they don't learn a damn thing from it. They just keep doing the same thing over and over.
Nope. It's like the definition of insanity.
Yep.
Do the same thing over and over and expect different results.
Yep.
Speaking of different results, somebody who has had different results this last year, who I know you love, that is Mr. TW Tiger Woods, who had a very impressive showing. President's Cup. He's played some really good golf lately, Sammy. He's I hate to say it. He looks like the old Tiger here lately. I know you love it.
I love it. I love it because some people on this show doubted him. I'm not going to name names, but some doubted him.
Oh, I still doubt.
Right. And
he looked good.
He has. And as we talked, everything with him is his health, of course. If he's feeling good, he's still the best golfer on the planet. Everybody knows it. Nothing they can do about it. And now he's got his confidence about him as well. And in his example of his confidence, now granted, this past year, what a year he's had. He won a Masters, which nobody thought he would. You got to think, what was it, a couple years ago, he couldn't even get out of bed, couldn't walk, do the back surgeries. Then he wins a Masters this year, ties Sam Snead, which is nobody ever – that's insane to do that. And then captains and plays the best for the President's Cup in an epic comeback where they end up winning the President's Cup. So that's quite a year right there.
Could that President's Cup get any bigger, by the way?
Well, that's a big cup, isn't it? Boy, you get a free bowl of soup. You can put some soup
Something
in
like that. That thing was massive.
It's like the Stanley Cup. I was like, good God, so I'm going to get checked here or what? But no, big bowl there. Yeah, pretty neat. But my favorite part was when Tiger is doing really well and the confidence is back and he's feeling well, is he had a singles match against someone, I don't even remember the name of him, but it was on the final hole to where he ended, not final hole, but he was up, I think he won like 3-2 or something like that. But he putted it, and before it even got to the cup, he turned, took his hat off, and stuck his hand out in one of the most ultimate cocky dick moves I've ever seen in sports. And I'm like, that's when you know Tiger's back, because he's feeling himself right now. And so obviously he's feeling well. And, of course, the putt dropped. Had it lipped out, that might have been the most epic blooper of all time in the history of sports, but he knew it was in, of course. I think I heard him say in a press conference after that with 6 feet left to go, he knew it was over. 6 feet. I can't make a putt from 6 feet consistently in my life. That was 6 feet going in. He knew it was in. And I'm like, what? What?
Hey, Merwin, I'm just going to ask you this because I've seen you play golf and you've seen me play golf. Have we ever 6-foot putt?
Not in my life. I can think of. Those were gimmies, weren't they? If we got that, goes like, yeah, just pick it up. We're good. Yeah,
it was close.
Yeah, that's right. Close count. But no, playing really well. If the health continues and he's, obviously the mind's right, everything's going well. 2020 is going to be a big year for him. Big year. So if once again the health remains. But one thing I did like with the President's Cup is for him in that leadership role, because usually it's Tiger's about Tiger. We know that. It's a sport where you don't normally play on a team, of course, and to do that and take that leadership role, you can tell he really enjoyed himself. And that's kind of the cool thing about Tiger this last year or two that we've watched, is just an evolution of him to where he's just a different person, appreciates the game a lot more, I think, and just really enjoys himself. But it was cool to see that where, he was able to lead that team and play as a team, where he kept saying, my guys, my guys. And he really enjoyed that. So that was cool to see.
I saw a different Tiger. I mean, a good way, though. A guy who was focused, but things were done. When he was done playing, relaxed, having fun, enjoying playing the game of golf. I read where he was leading the entire team on the bus back and forth to a hotel and song.
Yes. Yeah. Just having a ball.
Tiger Wood to do that.
Never, ever, ever.
And that's the thing. He's having fun. He's healthy. I think that's a big part of it. I think he's healthy physically.
Yep.
Mentally. And I think you could be right. 2020 could be, I don't want to call it a swan song, but it could be a major return to, I'm tired
heavy on that word major. Yeah.
On the back of the bus, the rest of you go back that way because I'm driving it again.
Yeah. Because now if people see that he feels good and the confidence is back and the mental game's back, they know they're in serious trouble. They had him against the ropes and they thought, oh, he's about done. Well, everything just kind of came together.
He pulled a Rocky.
He did. He
fought back.
And what he's got 3 majors to go to tie Jack.
I'm still saying
that's a stretch.
A huge feat, Sam Irwin.
It is. But he's got at least a good, I would say, 5 years left of major competitive golf. As long as he stays healthy, I think 5 years is still, and maybe more than that. I don't know.
I think you could write on that. I think 4 or 5. As long as he stays healthy.
I'd say at that level,
right.
I mean, then, eventually, as we know, Father Time is undefeated. Look at Tom Brady, what's happening, So eventually, Tiger's going to start to go that way too. But man, if he can stay healthy, good Lord, because he looked phenomenal in that President's Cup. I mean, he was shooting darts, man. I mean, it was unreal.
You don't see Tiger do that very often. When you walk away, take your hat off, shake your, and
no, you do not. Out. That's
yes, it was pretty awesome.
It was great.
I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I remember him.
When I tell you earlier before the segment, when we were in between the segments here, I said that's something you would do. That's something. Take your hat off. Look at me and just stick. Arrogant.
Yep.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, of course, your putt would be from like 1.5 feet.
Right, and then I'd take my hat off. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But hey, you know what? It's not. It's just like the saying goes. I'm not conceited. I'm just convinced. So it's okay. You're that good.
Right. I mean, that was pretty awesome. But he's having fun. He's playing well. So anxious. So before we know it, April's just around the corner.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
That's the Masters.
Yeah, and so he's got, because that was basically the end of the season, and it'll be probably, January when tournaments start back up. I don't know that he plays anytime soon, in that early. But once again, it just depends on how he feels. But he knows he's got to pace himself, too, for, another Masters run. He'll be the defending champion.
I think they take all of January off, and they come back in mid-February, like around Valentine's Day, and they have a couple of tournaments before the Masters.
Yeah, usually in Hawaii or something.
Yeah, somewhere
like
warm, tropical.
Yeah. What a terrible life. Nice. Professional golfers. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, Tiger is playing well. It'll be interesting to see what he does. I hope he comes out in 2020 and just lights the world on fire because not only is it good for golf,
yeah,
good for America.
Oh, it is. It's fun. It gets people get to talking about it, and it's really cool to see. So.
Yep. So, hey, we're going to take a quick break, hear from our great sponsor, Country Financial Agent Lisa Ehrbacher in downtown Florida. And we're going to come back and continue our discussion of the NFL 100 with tight ends. You should feel secure with your insurance protection. Your local Country Financial Agent Lisa Ehrbacher in Florida is committed to helping you understand your coverage and what gaps you may have. To get a free quote and ensure that you have everything that you need, call Lisa today at 618-662-3344. Feel secure with your insurance protection with Country Financial Agent Lisa Ehrbacher.
This is Downtown Bosco, the world heavyweight champion. Drink your beer, eat your chicken, and listen to the Behind the Mic show. And welcome back.
Sam Irwin, there's nobody better to welcome us back to the Behind the Mic show than the world heavyweight champion, Downtown Bosco, who says, drink your beer and eat your chicken.
That's right. And who better as we're getting ready to talk about tight ends? Nobody a bigger fan of tight ends than the world heavyweight champion.
That's right. The ladies love him.
Oh, they love him. That's right. So, yes, we're going to talk about NFL tight ends.
Right.
Which, the top 100 as the NFL's doing their 100th season here. And so they actually knocked it down to 5, Keith.
Why?
I don't know. I guess because running backs was 12. And then for some reason now tight ends are 5, and which means just even more people left off the list. So I'm not real sure. But
hold on. Dutchie didn't make this list, right?
Dutchie is not on this list.
Okay,
No, thank God. Yeah, old Dutchie. He's going to haunt us, by the way. I know he is going to come back from the dead. But Linda has handed me the list here. Thank you, Linda.
Oh, Linda. Linda
So
working
great.
overtime.
So great. Yeah, you pick up the phone. She's here, But they knocked it down to 5. So here's a list of the 5 that they picked, Keith Gibson. And then we can talk about, of course, who was left off.
Okay.
And what your thoughts are. So to start number on the 5, 1, Mike Ditka.
Ditka, 74. Everybody else, 0.
Bears.
Bears.
Now, one thing
No
people
problem.
need to understand, too, I have no issue with it at all because back in, of course, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s even, the tight end position was definitely not as it is today. They didn't, they didn't spread out like a wide receiver. They didn't, with all these incredible numbers that they're getting now, the position has changed. So there was a lot more blocking involved. A lot of these guys only had like maybe 5,000 yards receiving, whereas now we have people that are like 12,000 yards. It's just insane. So, in terms of what the tight end position was at that time, Ditka was great. I have no issue with that.
Ditka was the first tight end with a 1,000-yard season.
How about that? Yeah. So
think about that. That's yeah.
I was going to say, considering back when that was, and it wasn't a pass-happy league, that's pretty damn impressive for sure.
Yeah.
So, next on the list I have Tony Gonzalez. No doubt, no problem with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you even watch football in your life, you know who Tony Gonzalez is.
Exactly.
Yes. I will say he revolutionized. He is the one that revolutionized the tight end position.
Mm-hmm. 14-time Pro Bowler. 14 times. 14 times. Yeah, 6-time All-Pro, first-team All-Pro. How it was more than that, I'll never know. He had 1,300 catches, 15,000 yards, and 111 touchdowns. Yeah, I have no issue with that. Up next is John Mackey, who of the Colts fame back in the 60s, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, first team, 300 catches, 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns. So not gaudy numbers, but once again, during that time, he was a great – what are your thoughts on Mackey on that?
He in his era from 63 to 72.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was the second tight end ever elected to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
He helped him and Ditka both. I mean, kind of revolutionized as an offensive weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Ditka played 61 to 72, so both of those guys were very influential in the tight end position, not just being a blocker, someone who's going to be an offensive weapon for a team. Is he the top 5 ever?
Yeah.
I'm going to say no on this, and I know Colts fans will disagree with me, but I'm going to say no because some of the guys they left off this list have put up such great numbers, and I know it's a different era.
Yeah.
But you can't deny the guys who were left off this list. So I'm
That's
going
right.
to say no, he's not top 5.
Okay. Up next, Kellen Winslow of Chargers fame played with Dan Fouts, who was a gunslinger of all gunslingers.
I'm a soldier. Oh, that's Junior. My bad.
Yeah. He's definitely different. But had that incredible playoff game. If you remember that in '82, the highlights where they had to carry him off the field because, I mean, my God, he was doing everything. That really put him in an upper echelon. But he was a 5-time Pro Bowler, 6,000 yards receiving, 45 touchdowns. I mean, once again, these are these guys that kind of changed the position as they went along, right? He was kind of like the first deep threat, if you will, as a tight end.
Right.
I mean, normally tight ends didn't, run a lot of – but he was running down the middle of the field. And, Dan Fouts, of course, helped his career with that. But this Winslow one, I mean, I get it. I do see that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. So what are your thoughts?
To be honest with you, I have no problem with the Winslow pick.
Okay.
I really don't. He's on that cusp for me, just because of some of the guys who were left off.
Right.
But I don't. He did. He took that. He took what Mackey and Ditka did and took it to the next level.
Right. So it almost seems to me as we're looking at these lists they're doing, they're kind of going by decades. It's not necessarily the best to ever play. They're putting people that were like the best of their decade on these lists. You get what that's kind of what I'm looking at here. It seems like is what they're doing. So it isn't necessarily the Mount Rushmore, if you will. It's just this is by decade as we go, kind of is what it seems like in a grand scheme. And then this one, I know you're going to just shake your head, but Rob Gronkowski from the New England Patriots ended up with 7,861 yards receiving, 79 touchdowns, 3 Super Bowl rings, 5-time Pro Bowler, 4 first-team All-Pros. Absolute freak on the field. Injuries definitely, held him back from what he really could have done. But your thoughts on this, Keith Gibson, Rob Gronkowski? Do you think he's top 5 in the 100 years?
Yeah, I actually do.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you thought I was going to go the opposite.
I did. I'm kind of surprised because you said he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I think he's a top 5 tight end. You cannot deny the athleticism and the numbers that he put up for a 3-time Super Bowl winner. Third among tight ends with 79 career touchdowns. I mean, he scored, 17 one season in 2011?
Yeah. Oh, unreal.
Yeah.
He
has a record 10+ receiving touchdowns by a tight end. I mean,
right.
He is a product of playing with Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, but anybody is. I mean,
right.
That's just the way it goes. Yeah. But let me ask you this. When healthy, can you name a more dominant person offensively at all?
Tony Gonzalez would be the only other would be the one I put ahead of him. And one other guy who didn't make the top 5.
Right, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Yeah.
Right. But other than that, Gronk is Gronk.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He's a partier. He had fun, but when it came to putting the cleats on and playing, he's one of the top 5 ever.
Yeah, and he took a beating. I mean, boy, did he – because it was a lot of gang tackling, a lot of, shots at his knees because you damn sure didn't want to go up top because he's just going to maul you.
Now,
so
imagine
he took a beating.
What kind of numbers he would have put up if he was able to stay healthy.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, I mean, he missed a lot of time with he played 115 games. 15 yards a catch is what he ended up averaging. So that's pretty damn good for a tight end for sure.
Yep.
So yeah, had he stayed healthy, there's no telling. He could still be playing, but he just chose not to, So, and I don't blame him. So anyway, so that's the 5. So Ditka, Gonzalez, Gronkowski, Mackey, and Winslow. That's who they chose. And the people that are choosing this, as I seen, was also Belichick is on this board, the cheater of cheaters. There's someone, I can't remember who the other coach was, but they're talking about this all the time. And I'm like, oh boy, okay. So anyway, so now we talk about those that were left off, Keith Gibson. And there's several that I wrote down of like, how did these guys get left off? But once again, the positions changed. So one that really stands out is Antonio Gates. He's played with San Diego from 2003 till now. He's been there forever. 8-time Pro Bowler, 955 catches, 11,800 yards, 116 touchdowns. 116 touchdowns. Insane. Left off. Your thoughts?
This list should have been more than 5.
Yeah.
This list had to be, in my opinion, this list had to be, I know you're wanting 100 players for the NFL 100.
Mm-hmm.
There had to be a different way to do this because Antonio Gates is a top 10 tight end of all time.
Oh, guaranteed. Yes.
Yeah. So, but to put Mackey ahead of him or Winslow ahead of him, another great Chargers tight end, yeah, I just don't see it. I think Gates is better than him, but I don't even think he's better. One of the best that was left off.
Oh, you're right. Oh, yeah, there's still several on here. And let's not forget, Gates was actually a college basketball player.
Right.
So he ended up – that kind of started to revolutionize some things too. So I was surprised when they left him off because, man, you talk about gaudy numbers. Now, granted, they never have won anything, but that shouldn't count against a player at all times. Next up, Jason Witten, Dallas Cowboys, 12,448 yards receiving. He came back this year, 68 touchdowns receiving. He was Romo's security blanket for many, many years. I was kind of surprised that, now granted, he's still playing. Of course, several of them are.
Well, but Sammy, he's second all-time in receptions and receiving yards for tight ends.
Yeah, 1,152 catches. 1,152. That's insane. I mean,
he got 90 passes 4 times in a season.
Yep. Right, and you leave him off
in one game.
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get. And he blocks. He did it all. He wasn't your split out wide tight end like a lot of these guys we'll talk about. He was still your prototypical tight end. Did the blocking, but also had a lot of. And I mean, he was great. He's still great. I mean, he came back, took a year off, came back, and he hasn't missed a beat. So
11 Pro Bowls. 11.
11. Yes, that's correct. Been with Dallas his entire career. And I don't know. I mean, how do you leave him off the list? I mean, he's phenomenal. So that's another one. Just makes you shake your head. Next that I had was Jimmy Graham. New Orleans fame, really. He had some phenomenal years.
See, to me, he's not a top 10 guy.
Okay. All right. Had 71 touchdowns. Not a ton of yards, 7,400, so not like the other guys. But that's one that I had written down that I was surprised that kind of was left, not necessarily left off. I don't think he's top 5, but it just, like you said, this list could have been bigger. Greg Olson played with the Bears for a while, Carolina Panthers. I think he's about done, but 7,800 yards, 57 touchdowns. Who else here? Let's see. Ozzie Newsome. Shannon Sharp.
How do you leave Shannon frickin' Sharp off a list of the best tight ends ever?
Right. Yep. 4-time first-team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, 3 Super Bowl rings. Of course, John Elway, played with John Elway. He was Trent Dilfer's security blanket that year that Baltimore won. Phenomenal. 10,060 yards receiving and 62 touchdowns, 815 catches. I don't know how you leave him off because you look at these lists of people that put he's top 5. Shannon
hands down, he's top 5. You know what? Yeah. For me, honestly, my top 5, I would go Gonzalez. I would go Sharp, Ditka, Gronk, and then it'd be a toss-up of 5. Maybe Witten, probably.
Yeah.
But how do you leave Shannon Sharp off a list like this? How do you leave Ozzie? You just mentioned Ozzie Newsome. How do you leave Ozzie Newsome off this list?
Yep. Ozzie Newsome. 1980s. He owned the 1980s. I mean, Ozzie Newsome was the tight end of that time. Bernie Kosar, all that. And now what Ozzie Newsome has done, of course, as a GM, he's been phenomenal, with the Baltimore Ravens for many years. But, yeah, Ozzie Newsome had 662 catches, almost 8,000 yards receiving, 47 touchdowns.
And he played in Cleveland.
So, yeah, he had a phenomenal career in Cleveland. So, 3-time Pro Bowler. I don't understand this list again or why it's so small. Now, granted, they're probably picking 100 total, for the 100 years. I get that to a certain extent. But you're leaving a lot of people off. And it just – and, like, really great –
Sam, what about guys like Mark Bavaro?
Oh.
Brent Jones.
Yeah,
Jay Novacek.
Jay Novacek, yes. I loved watching him play. Dwight Clark, San Francisco 49ers with the catch. He was a great tight end.
What about Dwight Clark, who played with Peyton Manning in Indianapolis?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Ben
Winter Coates.
Oh,
remember him?
Yes, I do. Ben Coates, he was big boy.
Oh yeah. God, there's Dallas Clark is the guy that played for
Dallas
the Colts.
Clark. Yeah, thank you.
He was great. Yeah, great career. So there's so many. Heath Miller for Pittsburgh. Vernon Davis. Remember Vernon Davis, San Francisco? How great he was.
He's still playing. He's in Washington now.
Still playing. Yes. We had Jeremy Shockey. Remember that name?
Oh, Shockey, He don't want to talk about a guy who ran his mouth way too much.
Oh boy, talk that smack. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I don't understand the list, and why they only have it at 5, but it is what it is, and a lot of people get left off. I think honestly they create these things just so people debate them and talk about it anyway. I've
enjoyed talking the first 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Here's my thing with it. They're doing offensive line as well and defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure. There's some guys on those lists too that I've seen already, and we'll get to them.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, you want to talk about some of that? We're gonna really get into deep with this one.
I look forward to it.
Yeah,
and it's about time that you got in deep on something.
Well, that's what she said. Hey, other NFL news. Great talk there. Great talk about the tight ends.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Love a good tight end. But anyway, Drew Brees breaks records again this week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sam, we've always talked about. We did a quarterback. Mount
Rushmore. Yeah,
a while back.
I'd like to amend my pick if I could, and I felt bad about this whenever we did that. That's been many moons ago. Seems like when we did that, and I put Dan Marino up there, which is definitely not no shame in that. But man, you look at Drew Brees and what he's done. Of course, obviously now he's got Drew Brees, but he's got the all-time. I think he's both yardage and touchdowns now, right?
Correct.
So can he outlast Tom Brady? Keep that going. But what a phenomenal job he's done. And, he's what, not even quite 6 foot, or is he just barely 6 foot tall?
Out of?
Purdue, of course. Right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And an all-around incredible person. He does so many things in the community. Great father to his kid. I mean, just if you wanted a face of the NFL, who better than Drew Brees?
Who originally drafted him?
Oh, he was with the Chargers, wasn't he?
Correct. Yeah.
Yep. And he had a shoulder problem, so they gave up on him, and then he ended up rehabbing that and came back and now has had, one of the greatest careers you'll ever have. Yeah.
So if you had wanted to amend it, who would your 4 be then?
Well, Brady, Montana, Tim Tebow, and no. Oh, I should have waited until you put the water in. I see he's drinking water, and I said it too soon. But no, Brady, Montana, Drew Brees, and oh man, you're looking at me funny. Who have I left off? Because
Manning?
No, absolutely not. No, he's the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. But no, Peyton Manning does not get in. No, I'm sorry, can't do it. Who would you put?
Crazy. Brady, Montana, Brees, and Manning would be my 4.
Mm-hmm.
But Brees, he's quietly done this too.
Yes, he has.
Because he's not had great teams around him. I mean, they've been okay. I mean, they aren't like bottom feeders. They aren't the Browns or the Bungles,
right?
But
well,
he's made guys a lot of money. Marcus Colston.
Yeah,
Mike Thomas now. But you look at what his offenses around him too. They run the football. They had Mark Ingram for a while. They ran the football. Now Alvin Kamara, he catches the ball but runs it too.
Mm-hmm.
He just runs that offense. He has such poise, and
oh man,
you said great things about him, and I couldn't agree more with you. Of if you want a face for the NFL, I hope you're listening, which I doubt you are because we don't have that far reach. I would definitely, that would be the face of the NFL if I wanted anybody.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yep. So I don't know. I mean, that's just that's me. So I can't put. I mean, Peyton Manning's great, but I don't know.
Did you put Elway in there?
That would that wouldn't be a bad pick either. I mean, Elway's definitely had especially he's got the Super Bowls. I mean, it's hard not to put Brett Favre in there. I mean, what a career he had.
Right.
I mean, there's
You know what's great?
Tough.
You know what's great? We get to discuss that coming up very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because we'll discuss the NFL 100 quarterbacks.
Ooh.
And so I
wonder who they're going to screw on that list.
Right,
then.
right. They're announcing that on Christmas Eve, and I can't wait to see what comes out from that because I'm sure you and I are going to have a lot of different opinions on a lot of different quarterbacks since you were one.
I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's right.
Anyway,
well,
hey,
I attempted anyway.
Yeah, better than I did. I didn't have the height or the big hands to hold the football.
If we could play with a Nerf or something, it would have helped.
Right. Yeah, the mini balls. But hey, we'll take a quick break, come right back, and we'll close the show. Talk Braggin Rights game, Sammy, Illinois, Missouri this Saturday, and Kofi Coburn and how he's making an impact for the Illini. You're listening to the Behind the Mic Show from the Chief Seat Sports Bar and Grill.
Here at Ford of Tuscola, we offer superior sales and service for our valued customers, and we are committed to serving you. Our inventory consists of a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles, including the Ford F-Series, America's best-selling truck. Come see why Ford is the brand that more people buy and buy again. Ford of Tuscola, Central Illinois' vehicle sales and service destination, located on US 36 in Tuscola, Illinois. Find your dream vehicle here at Ford of Tuscola. Ready, set, let's ride.
Back here on the Behind the Mic Show, thank you to our presenting sponsor, Ford of Tuscola. Each and every week they give us a great job of letting us do this for you, so we appreciate that. But Sammy, big game Saturday, Braggin Rights game in St. Louis, ILLINI versus Mizzou. It's always a tight contest, no matter who, good or bad each team is. But has it lost its luster?
Yeah, I would think it would, because neither one's really been big-time relevant in a while, So, I mean, obviously the Illinois-Mizzou fans still get into it, of course, but on a nationwide scale, no, it's lost quite a bit until Illinois gets back to that point, or Mizzou as well.
Well, here's my thing. Why would you schedule it? And they do this every year, and this is one thing I don't like. I'd love to go to this game, but I'm not doing it 4 or 5 days before Christmas.
Right. That's weird.
Why not play it after, like the week after Christmas and before New Year's?
Right.
That way, everybody's got the Christmas out of the way, and then they can go celebrate that. But they say attendance is down. And now last year was a great game again. It's always fun to watch, and I'll watch it Saturday, of course.
Right.
Ended at noon on a Saturday this year, though.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So okay. But anyway, Illini, another big week for Kofi Coburn, who was the big 7-footer, is named Freshman of the Week for the 4th time. Same with that guy.
Oh, freak. Yeah, that kid, man. Knocking out refs just for fun and a celebration.
That was
where
quite funny.
Illinois takes down Michigan, which was a great win for them, of course.
Needed it.
Yeah, needed it bad. Well, and once again, you got a lot of young kids that are just starting to play together. So by the time the season gets, towards March, might be pretty decent. There's a lot of talent there. And with a kid like that, good God, what a freak.
Well, he elevates a lot of different things. Watching them against Michigan, I saw a different team than I saw play against Miami and Maryland. They neither should have lost that Miami or Maryland game. That was 2 games they should not have lost.
Right.
But coming back, I think you're starting, as you've talked, they are starting to gel a little bit.
Right.
And they're starting to learn each other. And, I think good things are on their way for the Illini. They got the Braggin Rights Saturday, and then Big Ten schedule is going to come very quickly. They beat Old Dominion, too, the other night. You're playing Old Dominion. I sit and watch that game. I'm like, why am I watching this? But I watched it.
Right, yeah.
Hey, great start for the Illini, and it's definitely got – there is I know you were up here quite a bit visiting the missus and the golden child.
Right.
But when you're out in Champaign, do you kind of feel a different buzz than you did, say, back in August?
Yeah, big time, yeah. Football teams going to a bowl game. Basketball teams definitely decent on the upswing. So, yeah, like we've always talked, man, sports in a small community is everything. When they play well, everybody's got a little more, a little more air in the lungs, a little more, stick that chest out a little bit. So, yeah, you can tell. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, great show today. Talked about a lot. We talked about the IHSA backing off on the districts. We've talked NCAA football, the Heisman, and what to expect out of that. We've talked MLB baseball, how money is just being thrown around like it's peanuts. We talked Tiger.
Keith Gibson, you know what, Keith, I appreciate the review, but I'm going to stop the show right here because Christmas is a-coming, right? It's a-coming. So
that's what she said.
But I want to know, give me your top. You don't necessarily, maybe just your top one, maybe a top 3 to 5 Christmas movie of all time as it's coming up.
I mean, there should be nothing better on the list than number 1 for Christmas Vacation.
You know what? For once, we agree. That is to be hands down the number 1 Christmas movie
Then Elf.
of all time. Yeah, Elf is great. Just watched that this past weekend.
Yeah.
Yes. The Grinch with Jim Carrey. God, I love that movie.
No, I'm not big on that one, actually.
No? Oh,
No,
Polar
no.
Express. Have you watched Polar Express?
I do like that, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it's not in my top 3 or so.
Okay.
I like, National Lampoons. I watch it any time of year. It doesn't have to be Christmas.
Right.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
So
Elf,
many one-liners.
The Santa Claus. I'm big on the Santa Claus. I liked it with Tim Allen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm big on that. And then, there's a show that we have to watch around the Gibson household 12 months out of the year.
Oh, and that is?
Frosty the Snowman.
Oh, and Rudolph.
No, we don't watch Rudolph.
Yeah.
We just watch
Don't
Frosty.
But Frosty. She's still big on Frosty.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
She knows the book now, too, and can read. But no.
Oh, good.
There's some good Christmas movies. There's also some really bad ones. Remember Jingle All the Way?
Oh, with Arnold.
Yeah.
Oh. But you know what? Pretty funny.
Home
There was
Alone?
some funny parts.
Love Home Alone.
Home Alone. Yeah.
If you have Netflix, okay, this is kind of a side note, but I'm glad you brought this up. If you have Netflix, there was a show on there called Movies That Made Us. And there is a thing on Home Alone about how they didn't actually film everything in the house in Chicago.
Oh.
You should watch it. It's pretty awesome. They
Really?
built the entire set in an old school gym.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And by the way, the first time that it happens, things can happen. You're in a rush. Kid gets left. Terrible. My God, that could happen to anybody, you would think, when that many people are in the house. But second time, it is about time to call DCFS. Why were they not called?
That's
on
a
his
great
parents?
question.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. So anyway, sorry, just wanted to throw that in there and just get your thoughts on that. But yes, we agree. Christmas Vacation, no doubt. So, yep.
Yeah, I think it's I love Christmas movies. I do. I love just the best part of me is for Christmas for me, Sam, is seeing Kendall light up. I always enjoy, we're both kids at heart too.
Right.
But seeing her walk down the stairs and seeing the presents and everything, and she's already told me that Santa's coming to fill her stockings with candy.
Oh, candy. Okay.
I guess I better put some candy in there.
I guess you put some candy in there. You're going to have a pissed off 3-year-old.
Yeah. But no, I have fun with that. Watching her get excited, putting the tree up and she's good. She doesn't touch a tree. So I ain't good with that.
Good. Mm-hmm.
Excited to get to see the folks here coming up at Christmas and that. And we want to remind everybody next week, Sam and I we're going to take a little break. We're going to take the Christmas week off, and I'll put together a best of show. So if you have a favorite moment from the show, let us know. Send us a message, send us a text. I'm going to put it together next week. So you still have a show from us. We'll just do a best of, and then we'll come back the week.
A nice year in review, if you will.
Yeah, we'll come back the week after for New Year's because it's New Year's and I'm old and I have no plans. I don't know if you do or not, but
I don't. No.
Yeah, I figured. So we'll still do a show for New Year's then. But taking a break for Christmas. But so we're gonna end the show, Sammy. We want to thank our sponsors. But before we do that, I need your final thought. And I went first last week, so this week I give it to you.
Oh well, you know what? Since we're
said.
Yes. So you know what? Since we're kind of talking about Christmas and all that, to me, Christmas it's like you just said. It's much better when there's a kid around. Obviously, if you're an adult by yourself or there's no kids around, it's just kind of like, and it kind of loses its luster as you go along. But when there's a kid around, it makes a big difference. You kind of get into it a little bit more. You want to go lick Christmas lights. You want to go, do all these different things. It's neat. But my final thought is this, because so many people get wrapped up in, well, I got to get this person this, or I got to get this person that, or I really need to, this special thing. I'm going to quote the Grinch on this. And the quote was, maybe Christmas, the Grinch thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. So those of you listening out there, and I always put that into, because if you're sitting around with family, friends, and you're enjoying yourself and just being around people and all that, Christmas is not about presents. It's about the people you're around, and it's lost its meaning in a lot of ways. It really has. And then they do it to you with the Black Fridays and the cyber sales, and you got to buy. Focus on what's really important. at that time, because a lot of people don't have that, so that's just my thought on it, is not being a big rush to get the most wonderful present. Just be kind to somebody that day, because, and that's one thing I've liked about Christmas the past several years that I've noticed, and anywhere you go or the people you're around, have you not noticed, just at least on that day or leading up to it, aren't people nicer? Could you imagine if people were like that year round? Wouldn't it be a phenomenal world to live in if everybody acted like they did?
I'll remember that, because I'm gonna give you all kinds of grief in the few days leading up to Christmas.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
So anyway, so that's just kind of my final thoughts of, kind of take what the Grinch says is, yeah, he was an old sourpuss, but he kind of figured it out that it's about much more than just buying presents for people. So what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are similar to your sentiments.
Mm-hmm.
But I read something the other day that really struck home with me and made me think deep about Christmas. And we don't buy a lot of gifts here. We don't. Well, there's more meaning to Christmas. It's family. It's spending that holiday time. It's just enjoying each other, as you said. But one thing I read was very interesting. I want to share this because a lot of people buy their kids a lot of gifts, and they go to school and they say, Santa brought me this, the iPads, the expensive gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can afford that. And some kids think Santa maybe didn't bring them an iPad. Maybe they weren't just as good. And I'm not telling anybody how to parent or anything like that, but here's my thing. Santa's not going to bring expensive gifts in the Gibson household. That's going to come from my wife and I.
Mm-hmm.
Santa's going to bring things that actually mean something and kids can be proud of. So when my little one goes to school, maybe she doesn't have the most expensive things that Santa brought her. Maybe Santa brought her clothes or pajamas or whatever it is. But that really hit home with me. That way one kid doesn't feel like he wasn't good enough and everybody's on an equal playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I agree with Sam on what he said and the fact that I think Christmas has lost a lot of its meaning, and we still go to church on Christmas, and I always will, because there's a reason we celebrate this, and it's not because of presents or any gifts we get or anything like that. It's because of family. It's because of Christ. I mean, that's what it is. So there's a reason it's called Christmas. But that's my thought, is the fact that sometimes most expensive gifts maybe Santa shouldn't bring.
Indeed. And how often have you found that whenever you do buy an expensive gift for the kid, that they end up playing with the wrapping paper in the box instead?
Oh, most times.
Right. So why spend all the money?
Right.
They end up playing? Yeah. But no, I like what you said. Yep. I think that's good.
Right, but if you check your mail every once in a while, maybe Santa made a delivery to you.
I'm going to do that as soon as we get done here. I am. I'm going to go run and check. Yeah.
And also, if anybody would like maybe a late Christmas present, you can always visit cheapseatsbar.com. And for an inexpensive amount of $20, you can order a Behind the Mic Show hat, or to get one free, you can play our trivia.
Right. God forbid someone take advantage of that.
Sammy, I want to wish you, your mother, Amanda, and the golden child a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, same to you and yours. Hope you don't run around too much. You get to just enjoy.
Nope. I get 5 days off from next Saturday through Christmas. You will not see me. You won't hear a lot from me. I'm going to enjoy a little downtime, my friend.
Good for you.
And
Good
yes,
for you.
it's going to be. I got Downtown and Mama Bear and Moon Pie coming up on Christmas Eve. We're going to spend some good time out here in the cheap seats, I'm sure. And we'll probably have a few cold ones.
Oh, well, yeah. That's the point.
But so but it's all right. No, I'm looking forward to it. I know you are too. Have safe travels to you. Safe travels to everyone. In fact, if you are traveling, and make sure you listen to the show.
That's right. Exactly.
All right. So for our sponsors, we thank Ford of Tuscola, because for you've given us a Merry Christmas, able to do all this. As our presenting sponsor, Back to Action Chiropractic in both Florida and Salem, Country Financial Agent Lisa Ehrbacher, and Beez Trees. Make sure you trim those bushes, make your deck look bigger. Sam Irwin, Merry Christmas to you. We will see you. Remember, no new show next week will be the best of, so give us your ideas and what you want to hear on the best of. Then we'll be back New Year's week. Well, in 2020, Sammy.
That's right. Woo.
So Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night.